Dude, delimitation sounds so unfair. I mean, it's evident all these North Indian states with a larger population are obviously going to have the upper hand. Right, but is it fair to have fewer MPs representing states like Uttar Pradesh that has a population of 24 crore? I mean, come on, in 1977, each MP represented an average of 10 lakh people, but today, an average MP represents 25 lakh people, and in cases like that of UP, one MP is responsible for 30 lakh people, and in Bihar, it's 33 lakh people. Think about it, dude. Okay, so why should all these states that have actually kept their population check and control suffer? Right, but the way the seats are distributed at the moment is benefiting these states because they have had the capacity to improve the human development indices, unlike some northern states. So, as a result, North Indian states with a high population growth will get fewer resources like MPR funds. And mind you, it's just rupees 5 crore a year for every MP to spend on the local needs and the development of the constituency. It's not much when you think about it. What are you saying? More seats would mean more funds. So, shouldn't this development be the other way around? Well, the top 5 states with the highest utilization to released fund ratio are Gujarat, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Kerala, West Bengal, and Tamil Nadu. So, in states with a larger population, it's no easy job for leaders to meet all the local needs. Exactly what I'm saying. So, states that have failed to keep their population under control need to take accountability. Isn't that why the parliament froze the total number of seats in 1976 up till the 2001 census to actually control population measures? You are right, but let's factor in something else. Emigration. It's not just population control and fertility rates. The number of people migrating outside India also matters. So in 1977, Kerala stood out for its 1.35 lakh immigrants, making up 63% of Indians migrating to the Gulf. And in 1980, that number rose to 2 lakh, and now the number stands at 22 lakh as per the Kerala Migration Survey in 2023. And also get this, the survey estimates that 5 lakh such out migrants, primarily in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, exist apart from Kerala. So before you say it, yes, delimitation does affect people from the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes, OBCs and Muslims. These communities have grown significantly in population but remain underrepresented in the parliament. For example, according to the Bihar Caste survey that came out in 2023, the SC population increased from 15.9% to 19.65%, and the ST population from 1.2% to 1.68%. Moreover, OBCs currently form 63% of the population. In fact, the Muslim population has also had its largest increase in Uttar Pradesh, increasing by 80 lakh to 3.8 crore between 2001 and 2011. Then why have we faltered on delimitation? Why has this logic of argument not prevailed in the parliament in the last 50 years? ये तो बहुत बड़ी बेवकूफी है यार. Let's actually pause for a second and look beyond the votes and the media bawal. Delimitation literally affects your day-to-day life and the development of your area. Why aren't we looking at equity this way when the lack of delimitation is coming at the cost of states that have more people but less to work with? So you're saying that delimitation looks at putting India forward, basically. I think so too, hopefully.